Hi folks, how you doing? Welcome back for another review. This time I'm going to be unboxing and taking a look at the Tronsmart Element Force. This is a new speaker from Tronsmart that they released end of last year. It's really an upgrade of the existing Element Mega, which I've already looked at in my reviews previously. The key difference being that this one is weatherproof, waterproof. Got an IPX7 rating for waterproofing, so it's a speaker you can take with you and outdoors, whereas previously, even though I liked the Mega, I never felt comfortable taking it out of the house. That's what I use the old trusty T6 here for. You'll know from my previous reviews that it's one of my go-to speakers. It's really just nice and hardy and chunky, and quite happy chucking that in the back of a rucksack to take to a festival. It's been covered in mud, it's been covered in dust and paint. It's been through a lot and it's still going strong. So can the Element Force do a similar sort of thing? Let's take a look and we can compare the two and see what the differences are between the Element Force and the Element Mega. Okay, let's have a little look, see what we get in the box. So how do we get in? I see. Let's have a little look at what we get. Okay, so you can see straight away, very similar in appearance to the Tronsmart Mega, as you'd expect. What have we got? Got a warranty card and some instructions, if I can get them out of the packet, and an aux cable and a charging lead. This brings us to one of the first changes with the Element Force. You'll see that it's no longer a micro USB charging socket, apparently, if I can find the thing. Hidden by the rubber thing here. Let's just open that up. So they switched from micro USB to USB-C, and there's a good reason for that. It means it can charge a lot quicker now. The charging time before on the Element Mega was about 4 to 5 hours. This is claimed to be 3 hours, and the reasoning for that is the USB-C connection can supply higher voltage, higher ampage, sorry, than the micro USB. So I think you're looking at, I believe it's 5 volts and 3 amps as opposed to 5 volts and 2.5 amps. So on the back there we can see we've got a micro SD card slot, and we've got an aux in for the cable if you want to use it that way, if you don't want a Bluetooth. And let's look at another of the obvious changes on the top here. Before we can even turn it on, you'll see with the Element Mega you used to have that neat little sliding volume control. Well, now you've got actual buttons you need to press, so that obviously comes, the waterproofing comes at the expense of those nice little slide controls. But for me, that's not a biggie. I'd rather be able to take this outside and use it, and as I say, take it to festivals and away on holiday and stuff. If that's the price you have to pay, then I'm happy with that. So let's get my phone paired to it and we'll turn it on and see how we get on. Okay, it's a fairly unobtrusive startup sound, which is always good, because one thing I don't like is when you get massive blaring noises. So I'll just get my phone out and I'll just try and Bluetooth into it. I'm hoping it'll pick it up straight away. Yep, Element Force, so I'm just pairing now. Hopefully. There we go, I'm now connected. So let's blast some music for it and see how it sounds, and see what sort of volume we're getting. Okay, sounding great. To my ears, it sounds identical to the Mega, but obviously you have got this waterproofing, which is great. One other thing that's been added with this is you might be able to see on the top here on the buttons, we've got on the far right an EQ button. This apparently, according to the instructions, will switch between 3 different modes. So there's extra bass, 3D and standard music. So it says the default is extra bass with no LED, 3D music has a blue indicator on, while standard music has a white indicator on. So I'll blast a little bit more and we'll try the 3 modes and see if we can tell the difference. So I'm not sure how well that would have come across on the video, but there is a definite clear difference between the 3 modes when you're listening to it here. Obviously more bass on the standard default one, which is the extra bass mode, and to be honest I guess I'd probably leave it in that for pretty much all the time. The 3D, yeah, it gave it a sort of wider sounding effect, but I think it was at the expense of some of the bass again, and the standard, yeah, it's fine, but I don't see any need for that when you've got the extra bass there. So that's a nice little touch. That's something that wasn't there on the Element Mega. Obviously you can EQ stuff on your phone or the music source, but it's nice to have some EQ on the speaker itself. One thing to note is one of the great things about these is the true wireless stereo pairing. And that's the same with these, so you can pair 2 of these and get a true wireless stereo pair. One thing to note is you can't pair an Element Mega with the Element Mega Force. You need to have 2 of the same type of speaker, so if that's something you're going to be thinking about doing, bear in mind they both need to be the same. A couple of little extra things to mention. The speaker does have NFC mode, so if you've got an NFC enabled phone, you can just touch it onto the top of the speaker and it will pair for you, which is always nice. It's a great thing to have these days. There is a sleep mode, which will go into a power saving mode after 15 minutes, which will protect your battery life. I haven't had a chance yet, obviously, as I've just unpacked it to put the battery claims to the test, but based on the previous Tronsmart speakers, I've no reason to disbelieve what they're telling me. So I should get a nice decent battery life there from it. I'll hopefully update this video with some actual figures once I've had it for a week or so you can just see just exactly how I've got on. And that's it. So what I'll do shortly is I'm going to compare this to the old T6, play the same bit of music on both, you can see which one you prefer, and then hopefully you'll be able to make a decision on which one you want to go for based on that. Unless you really need the slide controls, I don't see why you wouldn't go for the Element Force over the standard Element Mega. I think in what you're losing for that nice little control method, you're gaining a lot more in terms of the faster charging time, the EQ, and more importantly the waterproofing. So the waterproofing in real life means it's going to be fine for showers and rain if it gets wet. I think IPX7 means it can be submerged for, I think it's 30 minutes in a metre of water. So I can't see anyone actually wanting to put that to the test, but it does mean that in real life terms it's going to be able to take anything you put in it. And if you take it in a festival and it gets wet, it's not going to stop working. And it also means it's dust and drop proof as well, so it should be able to survive in your rucksack. As I say, that was always my concern about the Element Mega. It was a great speaker, but it didn't feel like it was one that was made just to be chucked in a bag and taken with you, whereas this just feels like it's going to last, and it's got a nice little carrying hook on the side there, so I will have no qualms about taking that with me on my travels around. So does this mean the end of the trusty T6? I don't know. Let's try a bit of music on both and we'll see how they compare. So I'll pair up now with the Element Force, we'll try something on that, and then we'll switch to the T6 and see how we get on. let's switch to the T6 and we'll give that a blast now. So there you go, there's a quick blast between the T6 and the Element Force. Let me know in the comments which you prefer, and it'd be interesting to see which you thought sounds the best and which one you eventually plump for. So that sums it up for today. Again, I'll try and update this review after a week or so with some battery times, but again, our first impressions are another great speaker from Tronsmart. I love their stuff and they do a lot of great speakers. As I say, this may be the end of my T6. I'm going to live with them both for a week or two and see which one I prefer, and then make a decision based on that. So thanks again. Keep watching. I've got a load more stuff to review coming up, so hopefully you'll stick with me, and if you can hit that subscribe button, I'll appreciate it. Thank you. Cheers.